When choosing a one-to-many model for your business, what I see a lot of people do is choose a delivery model based on their desired delivery style. So I want to run a membership or a group program or a course, which in theory sounds great. However, I think there is a far better way, and by better I mean that you're more likely to be successful, if you actually choose your one-to-many model based on your stage of business, audience size, and lead flow. If you don't, what you end up is pouring a lot of work into a delivery model, which you then cannot fill or don't make much money from because you never had enough people in your audience to make it successful. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 core one-to-many options, one of them being a group program, one of them being a membership, and the third being a course. And I'm going to go through the pros and cons of each of these models. And I'm also going to share the logical step, like the order that I think makes the most sense to go in order to be confident that you're going to fill these offers and that they're actually going to result in what you want, which I'm guessing is serving clients, getting a great result, and actually making money in the process as well. So let's dive in. So all of these models, whichever ones you choose, allows you to scale past one-on-one. And why might you want to grow past one-on-one? Some people love serving one-on-one and are really happy with that model. But you might hit the tension points I got to, which were, firstly, I hit client capacity, I hit an income ceiling. Mainly, I found a diary full of one-on-one calls very exhausting. I'm a big introvert, and waking up every day to say 5 hours of calls, I just started not to look forward to it. So when I was thinking about how I wanted to grow my business, and I also used to be a former teacher, I know I love serving in groups. I love the energy of groups. I love facilitating and teaching in groups. So for me, a one-to-many option was a really obvious choice. And I have done many group programs and grown a membership to 250 people. I haven't done the DIY course route. So that route, I'm more sharing kind of why I've stayed away from that so far, but I'll give more objectively like the pros and cons of both. Okay, now I believe personally that the best logical place to start with a one-to-many program is a group program. And I'm going to share with you why and show you the pros. So the reason I love group programs is because when we're serving one-on-one, what we often begin to see is patterns with our clients, and we get kind of sick of repeating the same thing over and over. Maybe we become a little bit less patient. So for me, a group program is a way of taking, say, instead of just serving one client and serving 5+ clients in a group. You could obviously have a much bigger group program if you want. And in a group, we are looking for that common pathway that people take, and we're turning our one-on-one into a more leveraged delivery style. So our client capacity goes up. But you can keep your delivery hours low. So instead of, say, having 10 clients and 10 hours delivery, we could potentially just have 1 hour delivery a week, for example, for that group program. You can also keep your group fairly high ticket if you want to. I mean, you can go as high ticket as you want. But often when I see people think about moving to a one-to-many model, they think that everything has to then become very cheap. And unless you have a very large audience, it'll then be very difficult for you to make money. Whereas with a group program, you can typically say, as a rough guide, make it 2/3 the price of your one-on-one or half the price of your one-on-one and serve in a far more leveraged way. The other reason I love groups is you can keep the group experience really high. It can be a deep, intensive container if you want to be. This could be for 5 clients or 10 clients. And if you want, you can build in one-on-one time. My group program has one-on-one time in it because I love serving deeply. So you can serve more clients in less time. You can still make money and really focus on delivering a really high transformation. Now, some of the considerations are you do need more lead flow, right? But this is for all of our models. sales. You need more lead flow. You need to know, and if not learn, how to facilitate groups powerfully and how to structure it well. But all of these are easily solvable problems. For me, group programs is where I found my sweet spot. And there are essentially two, if we just talk about two main models for running groups. One is a cohort model, where you have a start and a finish, and all clients start and finish at the same time. And the other is an evergreen model, which is what I've moved to, where I now have clients that can join. I add 5 clients a month to my program. I'm not going to go into this video the pros and cons of like cohort versus evergreen, but I have another video on that, and I'll pop that below in case you're considering that. So for me, group is the closest to one-on-one and the easiest one to simply take a one-on-one service and transition it into a group experience, basically making more money in less time. Okay, like I said, for me, this is the most obvious one to start with because you might only need, say, 5 clients in a group. Now, the second one I want to talk to you about is memberships. This is the one that I feel like people feel will be easy, and they love the idea because we can have it low cost. We might have, say, a £25 membership. So the thinking people go into it with is, oh, brilliant, this will be really easy to sell because it's £25. It's really, really important that when you consider your one-to-many model, you're thinking about your stage of business, your audience size, and your lead flow. Because if you have a low-cost membership, then you need a lot of people to make money from it. For example, if you have a £25 membership, and you get 25 people in it, that is only £625 a month, right? And I see a lot of people start memberships and get those first 25 quite easily, maybe get to 50, but really struggle to grow from there. And so you're doing a lot of work to serve these 50 clients, which is quite a high number of clients when you think about it, but you're only making £500 or £1,000 a month. Okay, so let's look at some of the pros and cons of memberships and who they are best for. So a lot of the reason people are very drawn to membership is because of the recurring revenue. And I really did love that with my membership. I've replicated that with my group program now, in that people join for a year and pay monthly. So I guess you could say that my group program is almost a form of membership, except people commit for the year with an out at the 3 months if they want to leave. But the downside of the recurring revenue is you're constantly battling churn. And we really found this with my membership. There's a lot of things I would do differently if I ran a membership again. But one of the things I found was that we would be working so hard to bring members in, and then we had like 10% leaving every single month. So you're constantly battling between getting your money to go up and like keeping members engaged. But let's focus on some of the pros. You can make memberships really accessible, right? Often they're a low price. So you can, if like one of your values is accessibility and really providing your service to lots of people, then memberships are a really great way to do that and allow lots of people to join. They also tend to create these super fans. When I had my membership, I had 250 people that were engaging with me regularly, and that made selling my other services really easy because they wanted the next thing. You can build super nice community and memberships. You can in group programs as well. I didn't really mention that. And you can upsell lots of things, and it allows people to buy from you in a low ticket way. Now that all sounds really great, right? But the reason I ultimately closed my membership is because I found this model so overwhelming. So one of the things that people don't really tell you about is the admin behind memberships. We had so many password requests. I can't access this. People also expected, I know this is a weird one to write, but expectations. Our membership in the end, it started off £25 and in the end it was £66 plus VAT. Like in my group programs now, people basically pay me £1,000 a month and expect less and do the work more than they did in my membership. So that's one of my other gripes with membership, is people aren't paying enough to show up and do the work. It's like a Netflix subscription. So you're kind of paying a bit, but that doesn't make you think, oh, I better watch something on TV to justify this Netflix subscription. Which brings me to my next con, is you have to prove the value month on month, and that's whether they are using it. So you can show up and give it your all, but if they don't use it, then every single month they are questioning whether they should cancel. And I hated that dynamic of like, no matter how good I was, people are like, oh yeah, I was too busy this month, so I'm gonna duck out. You have to constantly be filling it, right? Because you're battling churn and you've got people leaving. So you're constantly trying to beat the churn, and it's really easy to plateau. Another one is they are so much work. There's constant content creation to create new things to retain members. And that workload is the same whether you've got like 10 clients in it or 300 clients in it. So what I find with so many of my clients that started memberships is the reward just isn't worth the amount of work they are putting in. So for me, memberships are ideal if you have an established audience. Now, I'm a slight hypocrite here. I launched my membership when I probably had 1,000 people in my audience, and I did grow it. So I'm not saying you can't, but the trend I have noticed with clients is that they launch memberships too soon. They then find it really hard because they don't have the lead flow coming into their business. So if you have an established audience of like 5,000 to 10,000 people, spot on, right? That's great. But the other thing I'm going to say, and you can disagree, is that I believe memberships are the best fit if you want the membership to be your core business model. Like the Female Entrepreneur Association or Tad Hargrove Marketing for Hippies. That's all they do is the membership with some like spin-off offers around it. But that means they can pour all of their marketing attention into filling the membership. If you try and have a membership on the side, you will find the amount of work you have to put in to grow and sustain that membership very rarely equals the reward. Because the main way you're likely going to fill this membership is through repeat launches into it. You have to like creating the content, and you have to either have a team to support you with the admin, or you've got to love that detail orientated thing because you've got to have an eye on churn, improve your onboarding, and create that amazing experience to retain people. Right, we're going to move on to our last model, which is courses. So I ultimately, by the way, I closed my membership a couple of years ago. It was brilliant, right? I loved it. I loved the community. But I realized that was not the model that I wanted to grow my business with. I didn't want to serve 250 people like on a fairly surface level. I wanted to work with fewer clients deeply, which is why for me group programs have been that sweet spot. Right, now the final one I have not done like specifically myself. I've created lots of courses, but they've always had live accountability. So the difference between a course and say a group program is a group program has some of you in it, some form of live accountability. Whereas what I'm referring to as a course, this is kind of entirely passive once people buy it and entirely DIY. So what are our pros? First of all, is that this is the most passive of all of them. I know a lot of people think that memberships are passive, but honestly, for me, memberships are the least passive of all of them because of the constant need to fill and create content. Whereas with my group program, I've created the curriculum once and now I'm just focused on my marketing and sales to fill that month on month. So it's passive. There's no client delivery beyond creating the course, for example, and you can sell it lots of times over and over again. Now, the main reason I haven't kind of gone into the course arena is because of completion rates. Without live accountability, we very rarely complete stuff of our own. So average course completion rates are around 5%. And for me, that's just not like, yes, I can make a lot of money. Yes, I could sell courses. That's just not where I want to go with my business at this moment in time, because I like getting client results, not knowing they've bought a course and that it then sits in their inbox. You need to sell lots to make money, especially if you're like, it obviously depends on your price point, but if you have a £50 course or a £200 course, you need to do the maths and think about how many of those you would need to sell. And then to sell it, you have to be really good at copywriting or really good at webinars to sell the thing. And this is why, for me, this is not an obvious place for most people to start. So if we talk about the logical order and why I believe that, if you start with group programs, you're just taking your one-on-one service, putting them into a group container, probably creating a curriculum and some structure around it, and working with clients in a group environment in a deep way. You only need, say, 5 or 10 clients to fill a group. Membership, so you shouldn't really, in my mind, start a membership until you've really sorted out your lead flow and you've got at least 100 people coming into your audience every month and an established audience, so you can have the confidence that you can fill it. And then courses, again, because you need lots of people in order to make a good amount of money from it, and you have to be really good at sales because you're not likely going to be having a sales call to sell a course. For me, this comes later, once you've established your business model with group programs. Now, of course, you are so very welcome to disagree, but that kind of rationale is why I've landed on group programs, and ultimately why, after growing a membership for 3 years, I found it wasn't the model for me. If you have any questions at all, put them below, and I would love to know from you, like, which model feels like the best fit for you right now. The one thing I want to add that sort of is that the other decision you have to make is whether you're going to have a business with lots of different offers or whether you're going to focus on one offer. I think a lot of people assume that you have to have lots of offers. And the problem with that is you then have to figure out how to sell each. And often you have a slightly different ideal client for each as well, which makes your marketing very complicated. So after initially growing quite a complex business myself, which had a membership, 5 different group offers, my one-on-one, I've now simplified the whole thing to really go in on one group program, one ideal client, one marketing strategy. And since then, I work so much less, I have so much more headspace, and it just suits my personality style. So that's the other thought consideration I want to throw out for you.